we're going to talk about Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen, of course, played with Michael Jordan and the Bulls and Phil Jackson. They won titles, a lot of titles. And the debate's always been LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. And Scottie Pippen has always talked about how great Michael Jordan is and compared that. Then The Last Dance comes out. The documentary Last Dance comes out. Oh, it's approved by Michael Jordan. It's about their last season. Then it kind of goes through the whole Bulls. It goes through Michael Jordan. It shows Scottie Pippen. It shows other guys in their life. After the documentary, Scottie Pippen came out and said he didn't like the way he was portrayed. He didn't like when Michael was in his retirement, he was playing baseball. They drew up a play for Tony Kukoc. Scottie Pippen sat down, didn't want to be a part of it. He didn't like the way that was portrayed. So then he immediately starts to kind of go after Michael Jordan a little bit, kind of goes after Phil Jackson a little bit, wants to write this book and says, I'm going to tell you the truth about Michael Jordan and everything else. Very salty, very hurt, apparently, because he just didn't like the way it was portrayed, whatever it was. And then he starts to talk a little bit, but he still talked about how Michael Jordan is still better. Well, then Michael Jordan's son starts dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. Then Scottie continues to talk more openly about Michael Jordan. Talked about a bunch of things. Then there was this, he was on a podcast, he was on Zoom, came out and talked about Michael Jordan not being a good basketball player, saying Michael Jordan was a horrible basketball player until he got to Chicago. Then once he got to Chicago, then Michael Jordan became a good basketball player. Now, the question is this voice altered because you look at the quality of the video and his mouth and the words? So you be the judge if you think this is true or not. Could be AI, but nobody has come out. Scottie has not come out and like denied it or anything. So it makes it seem like it's true. So we're going to talk about if Scottie Pippen has slowly lost his mind. So let's take a listen to what he had to say. If you've probably already seen it, but let's just listen to it again.
LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball. And there's no comparison to him. None. So does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game?
It doesn't.
I'll leave that out for debating because I don't believe that there's a great player because our game is a team game and one player can't do it. Like I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He's a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots.
Oh, okay.
And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
They forgot who he was, according to Scottie Pippen. So the first thing he says is that LeBron is the most statistically the best player by statistics. So we're just going to read exactly what he said. The first thing he talks about is LeBron James is the best statistical player we've had, like ever. Fine. You could take that. I could sit there and say, yes, LeBron James is probably statistically you could say best, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily the best. But people are going to say stats are everything. So statistically, whatever, you could say that. But statistically, I mean, Michael Jordan has more MVPs, finals MVPs, more titles. He has more defensive. He has a defensive player of the year. He has more first team defensive player. He's a better shooter. So statistically, I don't know how you go with that, but that's what he said about LeBron. Then he said this: I've seen Michael Jordan play before I came to the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He was a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was one-on-one, shooting bad shots. All of a sudden, we became a team and we started winning. Everybody forgot who he was. So to break that down, first of all, Scottie Pippen, I don't know what you were watching. He was not a horrible player, number one. So I don't know what you were talking about. Number two, the one-on-one thing, maybe. Maybe he was doing a lot of one-on-one because the teammates he had, were on cocaine He talked about that in the documentary. Yeah, and then Phil Jackson comes in, you start doing this triangle offense and everything else. So you could talk about how maybe the Chicago Bulls team, wasn't propelled to win. They didn't win right when you got there. They didn't win championships right when you got there. Scottie Pippen, you're on record talking about how Michael helped you become a better player. So I don't understand that. Then people forgot who he was. Does he not know the icon that Michael Jordan was? Does he not understand any of that? I don't get it. So he says all that because he's mad about everything else. But then like 2 minutes later says, Stacey King's podcast. He asked Scottie Pippen who would win a game between the 72-10 Chicago Bulls and the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. Pippen then said, "Come on, man, we were the greatest team ever. Had MJ not left, we probably could have won 2 or 3 more titles." Well, I thought Michael Jordan was a horrible player. So now you're saying this? Okay. The final season before Pippen joined the Bulls in 1986 and 1987, which they did not win a title until 1990, so they did not win right away when Scottie Pippen got there. Michael Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game, the most in a single season of his career. He averaged 5.2 rebounds and 4.6 assists per game, and just under 50% shooting from the field. Sounds like he's a horrible player. Horrible player. Scottie Pippen, you were mad about The Last Dance and how you're portrayed. It's hard for you. I don't understand why you're mad when that's the truth. You could come out and say you handled that wrong, which you did. You said you handled that situation wrong. Could you change it if you did? You say you might do the same thing, but you understand how you acted and how this happened, and you regret it and could have handled it differently and everything else. Cool. You didn't like how you were portrayed? Go talk to Michael Jordan about it then. You're mad that his son is dating your ex-wife? Go talk to Michael Jordan about it. Go talk to the son about it. But you can't stand there and say, like, you're just now saying things without any factual things behind it because you're mad about how maybe Michael has said something about his son dating your ex-wife, this documentary. Then you want to come out with this book where you have no factual stuff. You are just like a politician now where you're just going to yell things and have no factual evidence behind it because you're mad about things. Scottie, if Michael was that bad, and you were a team, you should have won the championships when he retired then. If you're that good. I'm just saying. And you're on fact talking about how better Michael Jordan is than LeBron James. I don't get I understand maybe where it's coming from, but you have to put the personal stuff aside and don't flip-flop here and don't be mad about certain things in your life and then put out things without factual evidence. People can have the conversation with people about LeBron being the GOAT because they have things that they could kind of back it up with, and you start to weigh which means more, which matters more. At least there's factual things that they could say about LeBron. I will say that. I'm not going to deny that. But the stuff you're saying has no factual things behind it. You're just spewing things off to get attention because you want to sell your book. Maybe you want to do a documentary. I have no idea. You're going to spew things on podcasts so that way you get noticed more outside of Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan doesn't have social media. Can't defend himself, can't do those things. I can't wait till somebody asks Michael Jordan about this. Scottie Pippen, you're losing your mind. Maybe it's time to take a seat, pal. It's just time to take a seat and just stay away from podcasts and doing all that stuff. It's just time for you to, kind of sit there and maybe appreciate that because of Michael Jordan too, that you got some rings. So